Good morning, everybody. In this week 9 video lecture, we will discuss the concepts and overview through the important informations on the mass transport in the same way that we did on the week 2 and on the week 5 for the momentum transport and for the heat transport. Okay. In here, we will talk about the Fick's law of diffusion in the same way that we discussed the Newton's law of viscosity in week 2 and Fourier's law of heat conductions in week 5. And essentially for the Fick's law of diffusion, we describe the movement of one chemical species A through a binary mixture of A and B because of the concentration gradient of A. An example of this binary diffusion can occur in example when you drop a small crystal of potassium permanganate into a beaker of water. This crystal KMNO4 has a purple color, and when you put that crystal into the water, you can see that there is a distinct region formed, and as the KMNO4 diffuses away from the crystal. And this progress of diffusion can be followed by observing the growth of the dark purple region. And before we start the discussion, it's important for us to establish a convention. So for the multi-component diffusions in here, we will use the Greek letters alpha, beta, gamma. And for the binary diffusions, on the other hand, we just simply use two italic letters A and B. For the self-diffusion, on the other hand, we can label a species with the different symbol. In here, we use this tag. Okay, and this A and the tag A, they may differ physically by having a different, for example, a mass, magnetic moment, or spin. So in here, we make it clear in terms of the notations. And let's consider that we have a thin horizontal plate of fused silica, and then we have two components in here, air and helium. Before time t equals 0, air, which is insoluble in silica, exists on the bottom of your fused silica, and basically it doesn't go in because it's not soluble in the silica. And then suddenly at time t equals 0, the air is replaced by the helium, and helium is soluble in your silica. So as you can see, the solubility of the helium in the silica is given by these notations in here. This omega in here refers to the mass fractions of the helium in your silica. Okay, as a result, because you subject the bottom surface of your plate with the helium, then the concentration gradient will develop from the bottom part of the plate into the top plate. Okay, and with increasing T, okay, your concentrations gradient will increase, and you will have basically the linear profile as is shown in the bottom in here. Okay, this linear concentration profile in here is defined as this omega A, which is different as a function of y, because your y has these directions in here, it goes up, whereas your x has these directions of going to the right. Okay. Then what we can find from here is that what we can see in here is that your mass flux or the mass flow rate of helium per unit area, and A in here define the component that diffuse, and Y in here is directions of the diffusions. Since you divide your mass flow rate of helium by A, then this quantity on this left-hand side is called the mass flux. And this mass flux in here is proportional to the density with the diffusivity of AB. and then your concentration gradient from the bottom plate to the top plate basically, and then divide by the distance of the bottom plate to the bottom plate, or basically the thickness of your plate. Okay, and in the same way that this finite form of your equations can be converted into the differential form in here, and then you also have this minus sign in front of your differential form equations because the directions of the diffusion is negative to the directions where the concentration gradient increases. Okay, in the same way, similar to your Fourier's law of heat conductions and also with the Newton's law of momentum transport. Okay, and like I said again, this A designates the chemical species, and then Y in here the directions of your diffusion. And equation 2 in here is defined as the one-dimensional form of Fick's law of binary diffusion. It is valid for any binary solid, liquid, or gas solutions. And you need to emphasize the fact that this GAY is defined as the mass flux relative to the mixture velocity Vy. And this Vy in here, or what we call this average velocity, or the mass average velocity in here, is defined as the mass fractions of A multiplied by the velocity of A in the y directions, plus the mass fractions of B multiplied by the velocity of B in the y directions. That equation 3 is what we define as the mass average velocity. And then we can also define the mass flux GAY in a different form, like this. Okay, it's basically the density multiplied by the mass fractions of A multiplied by the velocity of A and velocity of A in the y directions minus the total velocity of the movement basically. Okay, and in here we need to know that as the two chemical species interdiffuse, then we will imagine that there is a shifting of the center of the mass in the y direction if the molecular weights of A and B differ. However, in terms of the mass fluxes, we need to know that there is a zero net movement of the mass fluxes. So GAY plus GBY should be equal to 0. So the fluxes are measured with respect to the motion of the center of mass. If we write equations similar to equation 2 for the x and z directions, then we will have a generalized form of the Fick's law in the vector form. Okay, and if we write a similar relationship for species B, then equation 6 will manifest. And if we use the definitions of equation 4 and with equation 3 and this equation 2, we do the same thing for the species B, then we can derive that this diffusivity of AB is actually equal to the diffusivity of BA. And this is only valid in the binary diffusion system. And this DAB or DBA is a function of pressure, temperature, and compositions. I will upload another video that derive these calculations into why the diffusivity of AB is equal to the diffusivity of BA, because this is quite an important concept. Okay. Then once we go through, we can also now after we deriving the molecular momentum transport, and then the molecular heat transport, and also the molecular mass transport, then we can define that this mass diffusivity DAB is actually having the same units with the thermal diffusivity and with the momentum diffusivity, and therefore the Prandtl number, we have these three-dimensionless numbers: Prandtl number, Schmidt number, and the Lewis number. Prandtl number is the ratio of the kinematic viscosity or the momentum diffusivity with respect to the thermal diffusivity. The Schmidt number is the ratio of the momentum diffusivity with your mass diffusivity, and then the Lewis number is the ratio of your thermal diffusivity with the mass diffusivity. And this dimensionless group of properties, normally they play a prominent role in the dimensionless equations for system in which the competing transport process occur. Okay. As a note, sometimes the Lewis number in other textbook may be defined as the inverse of the expression given in equation 9. Okay. And following next is we will go and give you a bit of a feeling into the magnitude of this diffusivity for different phase, for the gas, liquid, solid, and the polymeric systems. Okay. Normally the values are given in the units of centimeter square per second, but it can be converted to meter square per second by the multiplications of 10 raised to minus 4. Diffusivities of gases at low density normally are almost independent of the mass fractions of A, and they normally increase with temperature and vary inversely with the pressure. Liquid and solid diffusivity, on the other hand, they are strongly concentration dependent and generally increase with temperature. For gas mixture, the Smith number can range from about 0.2 to 3, or the Smith number in here is defined as the ratio of your momentum diffusivity with respect to your mass diffusivity. Okay, so it gives an idea of the extent of your momentum transport with respect to your mass transport. Okay. On the other hand, for liquid mixtures, of values up to 40,000 have been observed. So in the gas mixtures, basically, the mass transport is quite dominant relative to the. I mean, because if you go back and the Smith number for the high number of the Smith number, meaning that your momentum transport will be dominant. Okay, for the low Smith number, meaning that your momentum transport will be less dominant. And up to this point, we have been discussing isotropic fluids in which the speed of diffusion does not depend on the orientation of the fluid. In some cases where there is an isotropic properties, then equation 10 can be used to define what we call a symmetric or diffusivity tensor. Okay, in equation 10, it's noticed that the mass flux is not necessarily collinear with the mass fraction gradient. So this table 1711 is basically giving you an idea of the diffusivity in the gas pair system, and this will be different with at different temperature. For example, for the CO2 and N2 or the carbon dioxide nitrogen system, increase in temperature result in the increase of the diffusivity. Okay, and then in liquid state, for example, also we need to in here we are dealing only with the binary systems. Okay, the DAB is a functions of the mole fractions of A in your system. Okay, and with the increase of the temperature, it seems that the diffusivity is also increasing as well. Okay, also we have in table 1713 in here experimental diffusivities in the solid state, like a gas in the solid, in silica, helium in pyrex, hydrogen in silica, and then hydrogen in nickel. Okay, and in this table 1714, for example, this is an experimental diffusivities of gases in polymers. The first column in here give you the value with respect to the nitrogen, the second one oxygen, the third one is the carbon dioxide, the fourth one is the hydrogen. The diffusion that we have discussed so far is a result of a concentration gradient in the system. So it is called as a concentration diffusion or ordinary diffusion. Some other diffusion may arise, such as thermal diffusion, which result from a temperature gradient, a pressure diffusion which come from a pressure gradient, and also a force diffusion which come from unequal external forces acting on the chemical species. The previous discussions of the Fick's law has been made on the mass units. Okay, we can extend the discussions to the molar units. While we can question whether it's important or not to basically extend it to the molar unit. Sometimes this mass and molar are both important, because if the chemical reactions are involved, then we need to use a molar unit. And if diffusion equations need to be solved with the equation of motions, then normally we prefer to work in the mass units. So we need to basically work with both terms, on the molar and the mass. Okay, and the following terms in here, we can define that the molar concentrations in here can be defined as the density divided by the molecular or atomic weight, basically. And then with all these definitions that you can go through yourself through the slides, and it's very important that you make a distinction of this rho alpha as a subscript, and then the rho alpha in here as a superscript in here, because this rho alpha, where alpha exists as a superscript in here, is referring to the mass concentration of species alpha in the mixture, whereas this alpha in the superscript refers to the density of pure species alpha. Okay, and this table gives you an overview on the notations for the concentrations, and the one on the right hand side is on the velocities. And this equation 11 gives the feeling into the local mass average velocity, and equation 12 in here give the definitions or the conversions from the how you get the local molar average velocity from the velocity of each component. Okay, and then the equations 13 in here is giving what we have given earlier, but the equations 14 in here giving the same things, the same representation as in 13, but except this one is defined in molar units. And in here, we are talking about the convective mass and molar fluxes. In addition to the molecular contributions, the mass can also be transported by the bulk motion of the fluid. Okay, so in figure 2 in here, we showed that a different plane in here. Okay, the volume rate across the surface element ds perpendicular to the x-axis is defined as the Vx multiplied by the ds. And equation 15 and 16 is basically giving the density multiplied by the velocity definitions that we define as the convective mass flux vector and the convective molar flux vector. Then after we talk about the molecular contributions and also about the convective contributions, then we, in the same way that we define our combined momentum flux vector with the combined energy flux vector, then equation 17 and 18 here define your combined mass flux and the combined molar flux. Equation 19 and 20 give another equation, okay, that basically connected the mole with respect to the mole of each components. Okay, and in here we give a bit of summary of the mass and molar fluxes. And table 17.8.1 giving you an overview into all the relationship that you need as you basically try to do the operations with respect to the mass and the molar units. Table 17.8.2 giving you equivalent forms of the Fick's law of binary diffusion. And then once we cover the binary diffusions, we also need to discuss a little bit into the multi-component diffusion. For the multi-component diffusions, then we have a Maxwell-Stefan equations defined by equations 21 in here. Okay, in here we show that we have these binary diffusivities. Okay, for an n component systems, then you need half n multiplied by n minus 1 binary diffusivities. Equation 21 has been referred as the Maxwell-Stefan equation because Maxwell was the one that suggested them for binary mixture on the basis of kinetic theory, while Stefan is the one that generalized them to describe the diffusion in a gas mixture within species. For dense gases, liquid, and polymers, it has been shown that Maxwell-Stefan equations are valid, but the binary diffusivities that are given for these systems are basically strongly dependent on the concentration, so they are not really the binary divisivities. And multi-component division is more complex than the binary division because we can have a complicating situation such as the reverse division, in which a species moves against its concentration gradient, osmotic division where a species diffuse even though the concentration gradient is 0, and then we can also have a division barrier when a species does not diffuse even though its concentration gradient is non-zero, and then the flux of the species is not necessarily collinear with the concentration gradient of that species. So after discussing all those equations on the mass transport, we always go back again into the conservation law. So again, for this transfer phenomena, even in the mass transport, we will always deal with the microscopic system. So the variations in that system is represented by taking a thin shell of a solid or fluid or whatever that part of the system is, and then we make a conservation law across that thin shell of solid or fluid. Equation 22 in here give that form for the mass transport problem, okay, where mass of A in minus mass of A out plus the rate of the productions, or it can be also a consumption depending on the situation, okay, will be valid. So far for this this conservation law is the most simple expression with respect to the momentum transport or with respect to the heat transport. Okay, and then with respect to this particular mass transport problem, there are several boundary conditions that can manifest. The first one will be the concentration at the surface can be specified, or the mass flux at the surface can be specified. And if diffusion is occurring in a solid, it may happen at the solid surface that the substance A is lost to a surrounding stream according to this relation represented by equation 23. Okay, or if the rate of chemical reaction at the surface can be specified, then the substance A, the rate of the disappearance of the substance A at the surface can be defined as well. Okay, and in the following equations that we will discuss, we will discuss the applications of the conservation law and the shell mass balance, including the boundary conditions for that we mentioned in here. Okay, so you do not have to worry too much about a lot of equations, but rather we will apply those equations into the example, and you need to understand basically more on the postulation, the assumptions, and how to apply the equations into each of the conditions. Okay, with this then I would like to basically conclude my video for this week 4 slides. Okay, thank you all for listening.